Good evening, my fellow friends, my fellow neighbors, and my fellow shining stars. The next trolley stop is here, and the next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to another all-new edition, an all-new episode of the Empowered Publicity Children's Books Spotlight Series, episode number 91, the next trolley stop here as part of the 2-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. My name is Jonathan Masiulionis, the president here at Empowered Publicity. Thank you so much for spending some time with us wherever you are and wherever you may be. I'm very excited. We're going to be sharing such an amazing children's book tonight, such a very, very, very important message, actually several really amazing messages. And I think that's a perfect way to start our next trolley stop here together, which is going to be a very special one, by the way, is to quote Mary Poppins. So if you happen to be having a bad day and you're just tuning into the Children's Book Spotlight Series and you're wondering, Jonathan, can things get any better? Yes, when you quote Mary Poppins, you know that we're here to turn that frown upside down here at Empowered Publicity. Anything can happen if you let it. And if you can just imagine Julie Andrews in her Mary Poppins-ish accent saying anything can happen if you let it, right? The British impersonation. Imagine having a door that opens to the entire world. The question is can you see it? It's kind of like your front door, except it's exactly like your front door. Yes, the one that you open every morning to go out and to start your day. But I guess that you maybe didn't think about it from that perspective before. Have you? It makes you really want to stop and think for a minute, doesn't it? How blessed that we are to have the entire world waiting for us each and every day. And so, one of our newest neighbors is helping us to remember how to open up the doors of possibility for ourselves as adults, and especially for our little neighbors, children across the country and around the world. And of course, leave it to an all-new children's book to put things into its proper perspective. The brand new release, I am super excited to be able to share with all of you, our friends, our neighbors, our listeners and viewers, our shining stars, the brand new release, Magi-Pals. It is now available. You can head on over to Amazon.com. We've included the link belowhand if you want to be able to purchase your copy. Joining us is our featured guest here on episode number 91 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, the author of the brand new release Magi-Pals, Aisha Khalfay, joining us here this evening and this week. Aisha, thank you for spending some time with us here on the program and joining us here in our neighborhood. How are things with you this evening and this week?
Thank you for having me. It's great, and I'm looking forward to this.
This is such an adorable book. On
Thank you.
So many different levels, from the writing to the story arc to the illustrations. And again, we started things off talking about Mary Poppins, and now I'm saying Magi-Pals. I just want to reemphasize, if any of our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, maybe they're having a bad day or a horrible week already thus far. Maybe it's just 2020. You kind of just want to, flush it down the drain, so to speak, right? Just say the phrase Magi-Pals. And again, you are here this week, Aisha, to be able to help put smiles on the faces and the hearts of children and us big kids as well. Could you share with us a little bit about your own journey to writing this book? Because one of the things that I could tell by reading the book is that there was a lot of heartfelt intentionality that was put into your writing, the creation of everything. And the best things happen in their proper time, in divine timing. So again, just reading this book multiple times over, I was really curious to be able to learn a little bit more about what inspired you to be able to create this book in the process.
Sure. So I have been, a stay-at-home mom, always with the kids all the time for a while now. But I've studied psychology, and I've always wanted to work in the mental health field, and specifically with children, because I feel like children, they just light up a room, and they, you know, whatever pain and whatever ill feelings you have, they just, as soon as, like, they're so full of innocence that they melt all of those ill feelings. And so that innocence is something like I love, and I grew up with children all my life. So I mean, I helped my mom with her private childcare growing up. So it's, I've been around a lot of children, and so I knew that that is a field I wanted to go to, work with children. So, um, you know, just working with young children and their emotional and psychological, um, balance. They sometimes don't know how to self-regulate their emotions like adults do, and so they need that proper guidance. Um, and so that's one of the inspirations I had, to give them, in a subtle way, that proper guidance that they cannot get on their own. And how do you do that? Through teaching them the skill set of how to harness imagination in the best way possible. And so that was one of my inspirations. Just my educational goals, and my environmental background. But as well, one of the movies that inspired me for this book was Inside Out, actually. I think it was very well done. I thought the whole psychological process, and how Riley Anderson, I think the main protagonist in the movie, she's a young teenager and her family's moving. She's going through a lot of feelings, a lot of mood swings. And one thing that really stood out for me and softened me up watching that movie was her imaginary friend, Bing Bong. And he was kind of her savior in that movie, who had gone into her subconscious. And after many years, he had been in her subconscious, and he made a comeback and ultimately helped her save herself from despair, and helped her redeem herself after all these feelings of moving and running and wanting to run away. So I took that and I kind of ran with it, and I was like, well, how can young kids benefit from that imagination? We need to send a message kind of in their language, that they can attach themselves with an imaginary friend that basically uplifts their mood. So in that sense, they kind of go through a self-regulation process, using creativity and magic, and they basically are able to feel better after reading the book. And my book is written in a very poetic, rhyming, rhythmic style. So I think it appeals to the preschool to young elementary age group. And that was my aim, to appeal to that age. But really, it's for all ages, because when you think about it, just like Bing Bong was in Riley Anderson's subconscious, we kind of have our imaginary friend when we grow up as adults in our subconscious, and we forget that magic. And it's all about bringing out that magic even when we're adults, and being the best that we can be. So
these are all messages, especially with it's hard to believe that things have shifted so much over the course of it. It's almost been 6 months from the life that we used to know to the life that we're currently in the midst of as of right now. And this is why I feel that your message is very much needed right now, not only for children, but also as adults. I tend to believe, Aisha, that we as adults take life way too seriously. right? We've got that laundry list of the to-dos ranging from, pay the mortgage, cook for the kids, pay the taxes, walk the dog, go to work. Maybe you get like a little half an hour worth of self-love each and every day, right? So it's so important, when these messages come in, to be able to share them in the process. In addition to your book being adorable, the title of the book itself, Magi-Pals, like I literally, like when I first saw the book, I'm like, this is a magical book. And there's, when you create the title of a book, or really the title of anything, that really stands out. Could you share with our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, on how the title, the concept of Magi-Pals came to be, and really what are Magi-Pals, for those who kind of want to know a little bit more leading into purchasing the book?
It's just very simple. Magi-Pals, it has the root word magi in it, so it comes from both imagination and magic. So when you use your imagination, you are able to tap into that magic that you've kind of lost while we're becoming adults. So it's for young kids, and it, in a sense, it could be for adults as well. That magic, that imagination. So I wanted to shorten it to Magi, and then really I wanted children to have whatever creative being or creature they wanted to come up with. So that's their pal. And so now we have Magi-Pals. So it leaves a lot of, gray area for them to work with. And we're not like really imposing a certain creature or some kind of dragon or unicorn on them. And in my book, you will see that when you turn the pages, there's all sorts of different animals. So it leaves room for kind of diversity of all kind of creatures that the children can imagine.
May I share my favorite illustration, if that's okay with you?
Sure.
This is my favorite passage in the book, and I'm actually just going to mention, because not to give too much away here, and I'll share the illustration momentarily. You will soon come to see you're never alone and never have to be. A magic friend will share tea and biscuits under your favorite tree, while birds chirp their tunes and a calm river flows wild and free. Soon you'll make memories with your Magi-Pal in sweet reverie. And just as you see right here, just the beautiful illustration of this little girl, and it looks like she's definitely in nature, possibly a park, and there's beautiful birds that are surrounding, there's mushrooms, and she's singing. She's having this amazing time, and she's connecting with her Magi-Pals. The message specifically of imagination, we've talked about imagination over the course of the past several months here on the Children's Book Spotlight series, and it kind of brings me back to Gene Wilder in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the song Pure Imagination, right? It always, lifts my spirits when I hear that song. Imagination now is more paramount than what it was even before. It was still important for kids, but now obviously with, COVID and the pandemic and kind of how things shifted a little bit, what do you feel is the role that imagination plays in opening the doors of possibility to children as well as to us as adults?
Well, I think the most important thing is children should not be isolated, because, as you know, we're all social creatures. We're all social beings. And so, during this pandemic, for a lot of the times, you do not have the conventional play dates that usually take place at the park or the library. So literature and these books really open up a door of possibilities for children to kind of stay in tune with their creative selves and have friendship with something they created themselves. And it's just about that friendship, and you talk, just like you talk about on your show all the time, that neighborly feeling, that community. That's what it's all about, creating a very friendly atmosphere for kids despite what is going on around in the world around us. And that's really my goal here. And I think kids, they can really benefit from literature that speaks to their imagination at this time, because they don't have they might have Zoom play dates, but it's still not the same. We're social beings. So
I think that when you say the phrase, that there are certain things like if someone said, I'm going to mix an ice cream, or if you're going to mix like vanilla ice cream with hot sauce, someone might like that, but that doesn't seem like to go together. So when you think of Zoom and play dates, I don't really think that. I mean, that's just, you're absolutely right. But we are social beings. We're also wired for connection, and I feel for a lot of children across the country because especially with this back to school season right now, depending upon where a person may reside, some children are physically back at school. Some children are doing the homeschool model. And then some children are doing the hybrid, where it's like a combination of A, combination of B, whether it be, let's say, being at the buildings, being at school like 2-3 days a week, and then the rest is basically done virtually. And it's really important for us, whether if we're a parent, if we're an educator, if we're a caregiver or a custodian, if we're just simply like an overseer of children, so to speak, to be able to let the children know that everything is going to be okay. And we've all been doing the best that we can in the process. And I feel that one of the other important messages that you touch upon in Magi-Pals is friendships. Now, of course, it's interesting because I actually had to ask myself when I was preparing for our conversation tonight, I'd ask myself, did I have any imaginary friends growing up? And I think I did. I actually had Terry the talking washcloth. So I turned this washcloth that I had, and I just named it Terry. We'd have some conversations back and forth, but friendships are so beautiful, especially for children when they're growing up. It reminds them that there's people that are like-minded, that enjoy the same things. People are able to begin to create those neurosynapses, the healthy neurosynapses, to be able to just grow in their overall development.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's my purpose as well, to help kids connect despite all these challenges and barriers that can come, so.
Could you expand upon what you were sharing before about friendships? Because again, friendships are more integral now for children, even more so than before, because of the different sorts of, fears and concerns, insecurities, doubts that they may have. From you obviously being a mother of several little ones, kind of seeing things from the perspective of a mom as well as a children's author, why do you feel now that friendships are maybe the most important for children, maybe than they ever were before?
I think friendships are light of connection. Like, no one in this world, I feel, is an island. We are made, like I'm going to reiterate myself and mention the fact that we are social beings, and especially children. Children have kind of this honest, sincere, and the most authentic, genuine nature ever. And, as we grow older, that can be suppressed in some ways because of social etiquette in different areas of life. But children are their true, authentic selves, and when they like another friend, they are very honest about it. They are colorblind. They are, they really are just, and that's the most amazing thing for me to see in my in my children. And I see that in other children as well, especially when I take them to the park, the library, whether it be the trampoline park, any place you go with children, it just makes you happy. And so that is why friendships, I believe, are their connection. It's kind of a lifeline they need, to grow and develop in a healthy manner. Because if they don't have that, it can have a traumatic or have an effect on their emotional and mental health. Mental health is so important to me, and it always has been. So that is something that social connection is almost like nutrition or food that they need. It's something that's not a want, but it's actually a need. So that is why I think it's so important.
I think one of the amazing things about you, Aisha, is that you have dreams of becoming a child psychologist. And I feel that the world needs more heart-centered practitioners right now versus the, taking a look at just, what I would call the illusions, right? Just taking a look at the fears and the doubts and the insecurities and just placing a label on someone. Like if someone has anxiety, it's very easy to just say, you have anxiety, here's medication for it. And not necessarily treating the heart, mind, soul component and just treating the body, so to speak. So I'm so glad that you touched upon mental health. And it really is a conversation that we need to continue to have each and every day. One of the things that we love to do here at the Children's Book Spotlight Series is to be able to provide some useful information, some tips, some tools, some strategies for parents, for grandparents, for educators, to be able to make the lives of the children that they watch over and their own lives that much easier in the process. What do you feel are some positive ways to impact children's mental developments amid the current climate?
I think, imagination, like my book promotes, that's number one. Number two, friendship. And, having healthy relationships beyond friendships. You have parents and you have caregivers. They need to have role models that they can look up to. And sometimes when children don't have the right role models, it can have a negative effect on their life. And it's lifelong. So I think having the relationships, the friendships, and having a strong character inside. And how is that character going to be built if you don't have role models to look up to and to guide you along the way? It's like stars, that all these children are like stars that you're guiding, kind of. And we have a big responsibility over us, So it's like about enlightening and reaching out to as many children as we can and making a difference. So, yeah, I think everything that my book promotes, friendship, magic, imagination, and healthy role models, community, and giving. Like we're in this life, the circle of life, so that we all call it. And if we don't give, it's going to be a very selfish world. And so I know my parents, they've always given us so much. Recently, actually, and I have told you, last month, my dad passed away. And so that was like a big rock in my life that was kind of removed and put a damper in my life. And I had to kind of reset and reflect on life. But he was one of the biggest role models I've had. And if we don't have those role models, we really can't get as far. It's basically that those role models are resources for us to be to reach further and get more opportunities. And my dad, I remember he gave us all that he could. And he actually taught me, he's actually one of my inspirations, my biggest inspirations. He taught me how to use the power of words to the power of the pen, like, living in harmony and using our articulation through the power of the pen. And so I think those role models are essential to life.
They very much are, Aisha, and I want to extend my condolences and my heartfelt prayers to you and to your entire family. It's we're also even looking at death and grief and loss differently now than 6 months ago. There's been 200,000 or so deaths just alone here in the United States over the course of these past 6 months. And we're doing our part to be more open, to speak from our hearts, that we're not afraid to say something if we need to share it. We're really enjoying ourselves more in the present moment. We're not taking anything for granted. And I think that that's also something that's very important as well, too, because, I think I'm going to quote Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I'll paraphrase Matthew Broderick. He says something to the effect of, you might want to enjoy life. Take the time to just enjoy things, because sooner than you realize it's over, right? And then we're kind of looking back, and, that's when there may be the should-haves, the could-haves, or I wish I would have done this differently, that sort of thing. So just to be able to take the time to just enjoy a good book. Like, that's also, one of the things, you're a strong proponent of children's literacy in the process. And we're going to be sharing so much more because, again, we are joined by Aisha Khalfay, our featured guest here, episode number 91 of the Empowered Publicity Children's Book Spotlight Series. The next trolley stop is part of our 2-year anniversary celebration. We encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, if you want to purchase your copy of Magi-Pals, you can head on over to Amazon.com. We have the link below in the comments just to make it a little bit easier for you in the process. A great book for your little one for the back to school season. Holidays are just around the corner. So whether you celebrate Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or Christmas, or let's say you want to get a good Thanksgiving book to kind of pass around the Thanksgiving table. Magi-Pals is the perfect Thanksgiving book as well, because it's good for all seasons. I also wanted to share one of my other favorite passages from the book, if that's okay with you, if I may share. And I think this is an important message. You may hear the phrase important messages a lot on this week's edition of the Children's Book Spotlight, because you cover so much in your book, Aisha. You need someone who is always there, who understands with love and care, and always makes you feel better, rain or shine, whatever the weather. So if you happen to be living in a climate where there's snow, or soon there will be snow, you see this little boy, and he's just walking his dog, and he's, enjoying the frigid Arctic temperatures, so to speak. But the message of just being there for our kids, it's so simple, yet I think I can't speak on behalf of a parent just yet. I feel at some particular point in time, I'm going to be blessed to be a father. So I can't speak, from the lens of a father just yet. But just seeing, friends of mine that have little ones, or even, a little bit more than little ones, so to speak, right now, talk to us. If you could share with our listeners and viewers, or friends and neighbors, about just quality time. Like, it's it's that simple. Why did we make that so complex? Why did we feel that we needed to do everything else other than just spend time with our kids? I think maybe the better question is that why did it take this global pandemic to happen right now to actually put things in its proper perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I have the same question actually. I think it's as you know, I'm a spiritual person. I think it's a part of a greater plan to kind of reset, have everyone reset. And you know, as we have all seen it, um, the earth is getting better, the environment is getting better. And we had all these questions of how we can help the environment, and all it took was just staying home and reconnecting with our families. And you know, and there's a silver lining, I think, in this pandemic, because we're starting to spend, it gives me basically the value of time, that time is so precious, and we are now spending it with our loved ones more, rather than having this go 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 lifestyle. And even if we do have this busy go 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 lifestyle, it's actually from our screens, so we still are seeing our families um, more. And so even though you're not bonding all the time, you kind of, just having someone's presence, just having a family member's presence at home kind of gives you security and warmth, that, you know what, we're all together, we're in this together. And I think we will get through this, no matter how long. I have hope that it won't be that long, and I hope that it will go down, the numbers will go down quickly, and we recover as a nation, as a world quickly, and all that good stuff. But I think, like I said, it brings a lot of good stuff to the world, a silver lining, which makes us reconnect and balance and understand our priorities better.
One of the things that the world also needs more of is more children's authors. There's 8 billion people on planet Earth. Maybe the numbers are large, maybe they're a little smaller. There's about 8 billion people on the planet. And I think kind of the old paradigm, the old mindset is that, well, there's other children's authors out there, or there's other teachers that are out there, or there's other, pediatricians out there, right? Like, how can I make a difference? And now we're seeing the value of following our life's purpose, of sharing and speaking from our heart. This is your debut children's book, and there's others that we'll be following, and we'll kind of talk about that as well momentarily. One of the things that we also love to do here on the Children's Book Spotlight series is to be able to have the author, if they feel comfortable in doing so, share their vulnerable side. Whenever we step into something for the first time, there can be challenges, difficulties, obstacles, problems, stressors, troubles, worries, you name it. We can even have some hesitation and some insecurity, especially if we're following our life's purpose. We can kind of have that internal chatter, right? That old tape, as Dr. Wayne Dyer, the famous spiritual author, said, the old Morse code, the da 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 da. I'm dumb, da 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 da. No one loves me. That's kind of like the old Morse code, so to speak. What were some of the challenges and the difficulties that you faced in creating Magi-Pals? And most importantly, what were some of the things that helped you to get through the other side of those challenges and difficulties and fears and insecurities that you may have had? If you can talk to our listeners about that, if you could, viewers.
So in the beginning, it's just, I was like, okay, I have this idea. Who wants to really hear my idea? So many other people probably have come up with something similar. And And then I really thought about it, and I was like, no one's idea is exactly the same. We all in some way have something similar, because we all have in some way a common principles and values that we start off from. And so like I just made my mindset to just do it, and so I did it. I think one of the challenges I had in the process was doing everything it was like ABC, new to me, everything by myself, from learning, because this is my first book. So learning, finding an illustrator, learning how to format things, and then learning it's better to get someone to help me format, getting that help. I realized getting help is okay. And not doing everything by myself, not taking too much on my plate, because I was doing that. And so just you need help. It takes a village to raise a child. And in the same sense, I think it takes a village to kind of promote and even write a book. So all the little pieces that came together, where it be learning how to copyright and stuff like that. It's just just small steps. I just took it small steps along the way, and I got help. I think my challenge was looking for help, and so I found everything on my own, but it was just taking it step by step and not being so harsh on a deadline. Kind of going with the flow sometimes.
That's also a good thing. I'm glad that you actually share that, because it seems that where, to go back to another Dr. Wayne Dyer analogy, he would paraphrase the children's nursery rhyme, row, row, row your boat. Ideally, we want to go gently down the stream, but many of us subconsciously, we want to go against the grain. We want to row upstream, right? When we're in the flow, we always get to our destination in perfect and divine timing. Maybe there's a little cool surprise along the way because we're very detached, right? And we always get to where we need to be, right? But, if there's times if we want to control the flow, or just, we want to get there faster, right? It can create some speed bumps, some turbulence, so to speak, and that's just not necessary. I think that all of us are doing our part to, we put out the intention to live more easeful and graceful lives, which I think makes sense as well. There is no doubt, on the flip side of things, there's no doubt that this book helped to open up my mind and my heart and my soul to so many different things. It helped to open myself up to a greater level of possibility as well. What are some of the things that writing this book and publishing this book and now sharing this book during the back to school season, leading into the holiday season and beyond, what are some of the things that this book, that Magi-Pals, taught you about yourself and that also taught you about life?
What this book taught me is to tap into my childhood and tap in to never lose that sense of childlike nature, because sometimes we need it even to survive. We need it to sometimes we need that soft side where we can, like you said, be vulnerable, and especially in our relationships. So I think that, and being creative, a lot of people, they are doing things that they don't love to do, and I loved doing this. I loved writing my book. It's something that I've always wanted to do. It's a passion, writing. I write even when I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm sometimes writing for myself. So it is a passion. And so I would just tell everyone, just do what you love to do, because if you don't, you're going to lose your sense of vulnerability. You're going to lose that kind of childhood fun nature inside of you that makes you happy. Because all of us have something that, like a hobby or some kind of thing that, some kind of, thing that makes you happy. So, and this is like um, my forte. So I love doing this for the kids, and I hope to continue writing for children everywhere.
And I feel that you're very much stepping into something magical, something really beautiful and endearing for not just children, but also, I think that many of us tend to forget along the way that we have the inner child within us. So the inner Aisha, the inner Jonathan, right? The little Billy, the little Susie, the little Wayne, the little Michael, right? The little Forrest. And I think it's just so important to be able to take the time to not forget that, and to do the things that, like, I know one of the things, and it's kind of packed somewhere in some boxes, but growing up, I actually loved listening to records. I'm a child of the 80s. So if there's, like movie soundtracks from the 80s or love ballads from the 80s, I'm the guy, right? So, a couple of years ago, I should say, they sold these record players that kind of were like in the form of a suitcase kind of thing, right? And you open up the suitcase, you could play your record. So they actually have adult versions of that. Right. So, I listen to records quite regularly. So I reconnected to my inner child. And it was such a way to bring a lot of nurturing and healing into my own life. So, we encourage all of you, if you are struggling, if you're feeling challenged, either to a small degree or to a large degree, to be able to take the things that will really light the fire of your inner child and make your inner child happy. We are beginning to wind down our time with episode number 91 of the Empowered Publicity Children's Book Spotlight Series. We are sharing the brand new release here this evening and this week of Magi-Pals, which is courtesy of our newest neighbor, Aisha Khalfay. You can head on over to Amazon.com to purchase your copy of Magi-Pals. That's one of the many ways that you can support Aisha and the wonderful work that she is doing for children, parents, families, educators, not only in Colorado, not only across the country, but also around the world. We have that direct link below in the comments in the process. One of the remaining things that I did want to share with you before we talk about what's to come for you, because again, you're just scraping the surface of your mission here for the children. I wanted to talk about stories, because I feel that one of your gifts, Aisha, as well, is that you're a fantastic storyteller. And I feel that stories are gifts for children. Why do you think that's the case?
I think stories is the best way to connect with children. It's a fun way to connect with children, and it's not like, okay, do this or do that. It's not a set of rules or set of rules of do's and don'ts, like a parent telling you something. When you are reading about, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, you're seeing a character who is kind of exemplifying the right thing. You see a character doing something funny and doing it in a funny, maybe silly way, and the kids laugh and they learn in the best way, which is through exemplary character. And they see it through these fun imaginary characters that we create, and not a parent telling us or some kind of older person telling us all the time. So I think in that way, when you make learning fun, children learn the best. So my goal for the future is actually to write more specific books where a character, where a character can come in, maybe for Magi-Pals, maybe something I make up later on. but that helps a kid who has a certain problem, and it could be self-esteem because they have weight issues, or they have a disability, and they specifically help with that aspect in their life. So this Magi-Pals is just a general kind of intro to all these imaginary characters. And one of my ideas is to possibly take one character in it, for future books, and they come in and help a specific child that needs help. That's kind of basically a damsel in distress per se, or kind of in childlike form, and they kind of help them and guide them and make it fun and silly and something that children can laugh at. So
I love that. I'm so excited for you, Aisha. The fact that there is just so much love and healing energy and magic, and just great, like just a great overall series of messages for children that they can use now, that they can use moving forth into the holidays, into 2021. You know, we've already long since set the intention 2021 is going to be an even more aligned year than 2020 in the process. We also want to encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, to stay connected with Aisha on social media. She is on Facebook and Instagram at AK Bookshelf. So if you want to be able to continue the conversation, keep the engagement flowing, again, one of the main questions we gave the answer to earlier is, how can you support children's authors and illustrators right now who are sharing these wonderful messages? Well, number one, in no specific or particular order, you can purchase their books. And number two, you can like and follow them on social media. Aisha's, you're just such great messages that you also share on social media. So we're going to be including those links below in the comments. For those parents who are tuning in this week, for those grandparents who are tuning in this week, for those educators tuning in this week, what are some of the takeaways that you hope that they learn, they extract from Magi-Pals? What are the messages that you hope that they take? And then what are some of the messages, in addition to maybe a few of the ones that you had shared throughout the course of our time here together tonight and this week, what are some of the messages that you hope the children take away from Magi-Pals as well too?
I just want everyone to just be positive in this pandemic, and you know, my message to everyone would be to always leave a positive impact, especially for children, because they're always watching us. They're always kind of seeing every move we make, even if it's not a good one. So everything that we do is, I've learned from my dad, who recently passed away, is we live for kind of the next generation. You know, when we grow older and we've learned our way, and we kind of teach them. We're kind of guiding lights, and we're teachers, and we're role models. So we need to try, at least make the effort to be the best that we can be, so that, you know, we leave a legacy of goodness, of community, of friendship, healthy relationships, because there's just too many problems going on in this world. There's like, I mean, if I go into that, that will be a whole nother ballgame, but
a whole other children's book spotlight series.
But, you know, there's just like so many sad things happening, from self-esteem issues to bullying to suicide. And it's just, you know, we need to really step in our age and time and help as much as we can. And that's what I encourage everyone to do with whatever gift that is given to you. With mine, it's writing. And I started off with imagination as something that is beautiful and something the youngest child can do, a preschool age child can do, and sharpen their skills in that. So in the same sense, everyone has a gift, and they can share it with children in the best way possible to make this world a better place.
as a little homage, as a little tip of the cap to one of our favorite neighbors, of course, Mr. Rogers, the host of the long-running, beloved children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. When he received his Lifetime Achievement Award before he passed away at the Daytime Emmy Awards, and he did this several different points in time throughout his life, throughout his career, he would always keep the time for us, Aisha, whether it be 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or 60 seconds, and he would remind us to reflect and to remember those who helped love us into being. Now, undoubtedly, you have a tremendous support system. You've got a great family from what you've shared with me in previous conversations, which is very much a blessing. Who are some of the people that you would like to recognize tonight and this week on the Children's Book Spotlight series? Some of those kind hearts and beautiful souls and favorite neighbors of yours that helped love you into being.
Well, first of all, my dad, I literally got my written talent from my dad. He used to love to write, and everyone that knows him knew he did. And he was very articulate, or he was a quieter person, but articulate in words. And in the same way, I feel like I can articulate myself better through words. Some people can do other things and better in other ways. And then my mom, of course, my parents, absolutely, they've given me everything and made me everything I am today. And then also my children and my wonderful husband who, helps me whenever he can and pitches in with the kids as much as he can, whenever he can, whenever he can. And he just has always kind of supported me in this whole journey. And just all of my author friends that I've made along the way, they knew what I was going through and they understood, and we kind of have a special understanding, because it's a journey being an author, and so I'm very thankful and grateful for those new friendships that I've made along the way. And that's pretty much it. And you, Jonathan, for I'm honored to be interviewed by you, by your wonderful a wonderful host such as yourself.
I'm deeply moved by those kind words, and you've given your whole entire life to your family, and now you're doing more so for children, parents, families, educators, you name it, across the country, around the world. So one of the things we also love to do here is we like to give some wishes, put some good intentions out there. And we have a little segment called 3 Wishes here on the Children's Book Spotlight series. So Aisha, you are being given 3 wishes tonight. Now they can be used for yourself, they can be for your family, they can be for the planet, so to speak. I feel that we all have the abilities to help bring to form and shape. We can help others to bring those heartfelt wishes, their heartfelt desires. We can help that person or persons to bring those sorts of things into reality. So what would your 3 wishes be, Aisha, that you're being given tonight and this week?
My 3 wishes would be that my children live to be whatever they wish to be, whatever their heart desires. They are able to accomplish that in this world, in a world that's, healthy, and as much as there is a lot of turbulence sometimes in the world, they are able to accomplish whatever they can and whatever their heart desires, even though they're only 3 and 5 years old right now. But as a mother, that's one of my greatest wishes. My second wish would be for world peace. A lot of stuff happening in the world today, and there's just so much unrest, and just having peace where, communities can get along and everyone has a portion of something and have like, good beds to sleep at night, good families that take care of them. That's just a basic necessity I think everyone should have. My third wish would be to accomplish all my educational and career goals and then share it with my dad in heaven one day.
There's no doubt in my mind and no doubt in my heart that your father is shining down on you and smiling proudly on you, and it's just a good feeling. I can only imagine you just stepping into your life's purpose, your work that you're doing for the children, and the fact that you have such a heartfelt desire to become a child psychologist. I think that you're going to make a fantastic psychologist. It's not like, sometimes, if we say, I'm going to a therapist, I'm going to this, there can be some judgment because, we're needing someone else to kind of help us. But as you said, like, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for support. So my guidance wants me to let you know the world needs you right now, Aisha, and I'm just so excited for you and for what's to come. Again, if you want to do your part to be able to support Aisha and the wonderful work that she is doing, you can purchase your copy of Magi-Pals. It is in the link below. If you're either watching on Facebook or YouTube or via empoweredpublicity.com, we've got the link so that you can purchase your copy of Magi-Pals. The perfect gift for any time of the year, whether it be Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, back to school, all of the above in the process. One of the things that we also wanted to mention in our closing moments is that one of our favorite neighbors, Crystal Leon, who is the founder and operator of one of the most popular children's book blogs in the world, A Sailor's Wife. Crystal and we encourage all of you, our fellow neighbors, to join us in making a difference for the patients at Anne and Robert H. Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago by supporting our special holiday fundraiser. Every dollar counts when it comes to the health and happiness of our children. All donations are tax deductible and will be acknowledged by the Lurie's Children's Circle of Friends. So on behalf of the patients, the families at Lurie Children's Hospital, A Sailor's Wife, and here at Empowered Publicity, we thank you for opening your hearts to our little neighbors in need in Chicago. So we have the holiday fundraiser in the comments link below as well too. One of the things that we're really excited about is over the course of these past several weeks, we have been sharing, I should say, Crystal, her platform at A Sailor's Wife has been sharing special features, special author features and children's book features on A Sailor's Wife, featuring some of the shining stars in the kidlit community. And stay tuned in the coming weeks ahead as Magi-Pals is actually going to be featured on A Sailor's Wife. So stay tuned, stay connected with us on social media at Empowered Publicity, Facebook and Instagram at Empowered Publicity, and Twitter at Empowered_PR. We are so excited to share some more magic, some more miracles for you as part of this back to school season here at Empowered Publicity. We look forward to connecting with all of you for episode number 92 of the Empowered Publicity Children's Book Spotlight Series next Monday, September the 21st, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And I believe it's 2 a.m., if I'm not mistaken, for our friends and neighbors out in Germany, as we will be heading out to Germany next Monday. Mark Mago, the author of the brand new release, My Super Grandma. We're going to be interviewing Mark next week as part of one of our next trolley stops here at Empowered Publicity. So yes, grandmas, they're so important. They're so awesome. They always have great food handy. They teach us so many wonderful things. They're filled with so much wisdom in their hearts, and they are also superheroes as well too. So we're going to be sharing all of that and more with Mark Mago next Monday, September the 21st, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And we are looking forward to, for those of you who have very much been wondering, well, when is the next episode of the Storytime with Mr. Jonathan going to be happening? Jonathan, well, it is this Thursday. If you are watching live here this week, episode number 19 of the Storytime with Mr. Jonathan, Yummy Me Feels So Good, written by Lion I Am. We're going to be sharing this beautiful new children's book this Thursday, September the 17th at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. We have so many exciting things that are happening, especially as we head out to San Diego, California in the month of October, the new home base for Empowered Publicity. We look forward to being of service to all of you. So if you are a children's author, if you are a children's illustrator, if you would like to share your inspiring story, if you would like to share the release of your brand new children's book, if you would like to be a featured guest, just as Aisha was this evening and this week on the Children's Book Spotlight Series, you know how to stay connected with us and you know how to reach out to us at the same point in time. Facebook and Instagram at Empowered Publicity, Twitter at Empowered_PR. If you are a children's author, if you are a children's illustrator, and you would like to have us share your brand new children's book as part of the story time with Mr. Jonathan, you know how to connect with us. If you are a children's author, if you are a children's illustrator, or if you are an inspirational author or spiritual author, and you would like to learn more about how we at Empowered Publicity, how we at PR from the Heart can be of service to you in our 7th year of giving back. If you are interested in facilitating your own virtual media tour, if you are interested in creating your own book and media tour in a city of your choosing, if you would like to learn more information about our media coaching and mentoring program, you can schedule your own courtesy discovery call by heading on to our official website, empoweredpublicity.com. And we look forward to seeing how, again, we can be of service to you leading into the holiday season here, just the final weeks left in 2020. I did actually want to give 2 special shout outs, actually, before we conclude this week's trolley stop. A special thanks to our friends and neighbors at the ABC affiliate here in Buffalo, New York, to Taylor Epps, to the entire team at 7 Eyewitness News this morning. They shared such a wonderful story on several of our favorite neighbors. Joanne Gramlich, who is the award-winning author, speech pathologist of the brand new release Talk, Play, and Read With Me, Daddy, and our friends, the Kuchikowski family here in Buffalo. They shared a beautiful story on the importance of family bonding during the back-to-school season amid the pandemic. If you want to watch that heartfelt story and see the beautiful father-daughter relationship between Ryan and Andy Kuchikowski, it's shared. And I encourage you to check that out via Empowered Publicity social media platforms. Again, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, in case you missed last week's edition of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, we like to talk a little bit about Mr. Rogers every now and again here at Empowered Publicity. So if you missed the kickoff of our 2-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Simon Kids, Fred's Big Feelings, The Life and Legacy of Mr. Rogers. If you missed our special sit-down interview with Laura Reynal, it is now available at Empowered Publicity, as well as our official Facebook page and YouTube channel here at Empowered Publicity, where you can watch any of the past 90 episodes of the Children's Book Spotlight Series and your 20 episodes of the Story Time with Mr. Jonathan. As we conclude our time here together, let us not forget the message of our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers. He is reminding all of us, whether we are young or young at heart, that we are perfect, we are whole, we are healthy, we are complete, that we are special, that we are loved just the way that we are, that I like you just the way that you are. Mr. Rogers' favorite number had a little bit of important significance. 143 means that I love you. 1 letter in I, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. But thanks to Aisha, who spent some of her generous time here with us tonight, we remind all of you, our friends and neighbors, of our other favorite series of numbers, 243, which means that we love you. 2 letters in we, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. So once again, one final time, in case if you want to enjoy this magical book and just be reminded that there are so many possibilities right now, many of which are aligned, they're magical, they're amazing. The brand new book, Magi-Pals. Once again, it is now available. You can head on over to Amazon.com. While there, if you feel guided to do so, one of the many ways that you can support children's authors is to leave a 5-star review. So we encourage you, if it feels aligned with you, to leave a review for Magi-Pals. So it is time to hop back aboard the trolley the trolley. So there's a few more trolley stops here in Buffalo before we take that very big trolley stop cross country. We want to thank you for all of your support of Empowered Publicity over the course of the past 6 years, for the past 2 years specifically for the Children's Book Spotlight series. But we also want to thank you for all of the support for the children's authors and illustrators across the country and around the world that are doing their part to nurture and to nourish the minds, the hearts, the souls of our little ones. Above all else, we thank you for helping to walk home the children of the world. So again, for myself, Jonathan Masiulionis, for Aisha Khalfay, this has been episode number 91 of the Children's Book Spotlight series. And we look forward to seeing all of you once again very soon. Until then, have a blessed evening, an amazing week, and we look forward to sharing much more magic and miracles with you when we reconnect very soon. Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much again for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jonathan.